Keith was a little worried that he wore that shirt last year.
Calling out the elephant in the room, the blue elephant.
So right before I'm ready to start, she goes, "Hey Keith, didn't you wear that shirt last week?" Yeah, I was going to change into a t-shirt, but I was like, everyone said, "Don't worry about it. What are you thinking about it for?" The funny part is I was in my closet today and I'm going, all right, what shirt did I wear last week? I can't wear the same shirt I wore last week.
Yeah.
All right, I'll wear that one. I haven't worn that one. And I came in and I looked at the views and I went, You ready to go?
I will be as soon as if I get live feed.
Can I click out of this?
Yeah. I'm not going to be recording. Painful.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Let's start our preparation for our class. Put our high-tech sound system in the middle of the room here. With our expiration, inspiration, always. Let's begin with surrender, with letting go, with creating space. Let's acknowledge in our meditation. We are surrounded by a group of individuals in this moment that are willing to change, willing to meditate with an email coming through.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. What we know is that if there's a group of us willing to do this, then there's a bigger group of us in the world doing it and willing to do it. If God brought a sample of us together, a drop of us together, then there is an ocean of us that exists. We are that pebble that sends out that ripple to all of our brothers and sisters. Says we're here. Be with us. Laugh with us. Love with us. Expiration. Inspiration. Into a deeper expiration. There's nothing religious about breath. Expiration. Inspiration. In this moment, we are all of the same thing, from on the same thing. If we look hard, we can see differences. If we look softly, we see the same thing all around us. Our intention is to live a loving life, a peaceful life, compassionate life. And to encourage others to live that same life and to share it. A simple intention, a simple practice. Insist that anyone agrees. We only ask for appropriate levels of tolerance that all can be where they're at, how they are, and begin a transition and an evolution in a more loving, peaceful way. Let us all bring into our intention a peaceful world. A world where people no longer fear smiling and saying hello to each other. Dare I say, a world where so many are not so plugged in to everything electronic and are more plugged in to nature. Not so plugged into what takes energy, more plugged into what gives us energy. Which is loving each other, appreciating the world that God has given us. We must allow within ourselves everything that is not ready to join us in that place to expire. Give it a peaceful death. Everyone, inspiration, and let that expiration just happen all through you. Give it a good death. Peaceful death. But a passing all the same. Practice of expiration. What is it coming with me? What is life showing me can no longer be a part of my loving, peaceful practice? Become aware of it, and on expiration, let it go. It's an awareness of certainty, you see. Once you know that it can't come with you to that place, it's not a choice but to begin letting it slowly leave your being. No longer serves a higher purpose within you, no longer has a purpose within you. Beautiful. Open your eyes. See all the beautiful people around you. So is this where I start doing the class?
Wait, 3, 2, and
Same shirt. For all those out there in the television audience today, the studio audience, yes, I am wearing the same shirt, but it is a week later. Get that out of the way. YouTube, what's that?
Has it been washed?
Yes, it has been washed and cleaned lovely by my wife, but I still found my way back to it, so that's it. So I have a bit of exciting news I've shared with some of the people in my OWC family, but I want to share it with the rest of you in the family. I was contacted by a dear friend, someone who's been a patient and a friend for a long time, and she emailed me once about doing something which I had a vision of doing a while back, but just didn't get around to it. And then she emailed me again the same week and said, you really need to do this, I feel strongly about it. And so I ended up talking with her, and so we are going to begin this Friday on forming thepractice.org. It's going to be a nonprofit. So we're going to start taking this work into a nonprofit arena and getting it all organized into a nonprofit so that we can begin to build the platform to at some point apply for funding and write grants and get some really good support to take this message to a bigger, better place. So it always was the way that I thought it would unfold, but the way that she talked to me about it was such a blessing because she just was able to take my head and turn it, like I take my head and turn it just a little bit, but in that little bit, a whole new reality opened up to allow some big projects that I'll talk about with you as we go forward to be put in the pipeline. So another angel, I mean, it's been like what is this, our fifth class now? So it's been 6 weeks, and we have all our videos online, we have an ongoing study guide, we have transcribed visits, and we have a Facebook partnership page, which last time I checked was like 66 or 67 members, something like that, growing all the time. And now we're going to be working on setting the original stages to set up our nonprofit. So I don't know about you all, but that's a pretty amazing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? We have to practice. That's pretty amazing in 6 weeks that God's setting such an intention for. I keep telling you guys, we're this little group of cells, and we're moving and shaking in this little space, and starting to divide. And when it reaches that space where it's ready to start duplicating, it will. But I don't really care about that. I'm very happy and satisfied with the immediate space that's happening and lives that are being changed. I see the worth in it already, already. So, thank you for all your attention, all your attentions, and all of you being here. I'm going to continue to remind you that if you guys didn't come and you weren't a part of this with me, that all these things wouldn't be happening. Even though there are things you don't think you have anything to do with, you have everything to do with all of it happening because you're willing to show up and change. So just remember that. Okay, we all celebrate in these. These are the accomplishments of the practice. These are not the accomplishments of an individual. These are the accomplishments of the group. So continue to be a part of the group and continue to celebrate in all the wonderful things that happen because of it, okay? They're not any ones. They are not possessed by any ones. They are all of ours. So thank you. Without all of you, it wouldn't have happened. There'll be some dates, the end of June and the beginning of July. There'll probably be a couple weeks that we don't have class because I'll be on vacation. So I'll make you all aware of those ahead of time so that you can plan your schedules and you don't get here and find out that we're not doing it. But it's probably going to be the last week. I think it's the last Tuesday in June and then the first Tuesday in July, I think. Right, Sarah?
Yes, yes.
So Sarah will send out emails, and when she sends out emails for the week like she always does, she'll remind you that there won't be a class in next week. So I want to say hello and welcome to everybody who's here. It's so nice to have you. What's your name? Mike? Mike, what's your name?
Diane.
Hi, Diane. It's so nice to have you guys here. Thanks for coming and sharing with us. Linda is also here, a longtime friend. And for any of you who have come to see me, you know that little orange pillow that's on my door called Dream that has the symbol on it? Okay, that was given to me by Linda many, many years ago. So she's been a friend for a long, long time. So really glad that she's here. We have 2 visitors from out of state that have been dear friends and patients for a long time. This is Bob and Melanie, and we're really happy to have them both here with us. So happy that they're here. going? Oh, Nancy. Nancy is a longtime friend, cherished friend, and she's now coming to a class, so we're happy to have her. Nancy was here when I did some of the other classes on YouTube. Do you remember that?
She was the volunteer, walking around, yeah.
So she's back for another episode.
Another demo.
Another demo.
Cameo.
I think I covered as any. Oh, what was your name again?
Kim.
Kim. Kim is also here for the first time, and Mike as well. So wonderful individuals. We're so glad you guys came. And again, whenever you come, we're happy to have you. You already contribute something awesome just by being here. Let's get into our lesson. We're going to do a little bit something different at the end of this class. Okay, I'm going to ask you all to participate in something. So. You're all going to help participate in something that's a vision I've had for a long time, and it's going to happen tonight. So we're going to leave a little more time. So Sarah, if you could give me an idea, I want to leave about 10 minutes at the end of class.
Okay. Yeah, it's quarter of
I'm going
it.
to ask you all to just really be a part of something that I've seen and would love to see happen. And tonight's the night I've been told to do it, so we're all going to do it together, okay? And it's a part of our healing. It's a whole different way we're going to organize ourselves and an intention we're going to hold for the healing. And all I can tell you is we're going to create a chamber of love, and we're all going to join together and create a chamber that instead of people coming up to see me, we'll be in this chamber, this shape, and they'll step into this chamber, and we'll all just focus our energy on them together, and it's going to just amp it completely up, so it'll all be magnified. So I'm really excited to have that experience with you all, and I'm looking forward to everyone being a part of it. So the last time, Patricia, correct, turned the pages for us, and we were guided to do yet more work on depth. So I want to go through the study questions. Last class was pretty transformational again. So let's just work through those. The first focus point was vulnerability as a path to healing, and it was really all about us being open to being vulnerable, to be just where we're at, how we are, and to have an experience of immaturity and be willing to put our immaturity on display, be willing to show other people that you can start wherever you started, you can grow from wherever you grow, and you don't have to have a sense of self-consciousness about it. That, as I laughed about, the first episode of the coming thing I did, and how artistically immature I was, but I was working through things, and how we want to show ourselves through the process. Because all our lives are a stream of breadcrumbs, okay? It's not about you. You're starting where you're starting, but where you're starting, somebody else may be moving into. So if you can be open about your life and where you started, where you think you're deficient, you're actually ahead of somebody else, and they can then use your life and go, oh, well, I'm coming into that space. So how did you do it from there? What I've found to be so true is that the world has made a bad habit of worshiping finished products. And we need to worship courage to change, to grow, to be honest with ourselves. We need to worship the process, the practice, not the end product. Because when we do that, we invite a huge circle of people that can then feel safe about saying, hey, all right, this is a safe environment to just say, I'm right here. I want to start right here. Is that okay? Yeah, the main thing is we start. We have to worship the process, the change of it, instead of the finished product. Because, the finished product it's really not what it's all about. We talked about last time. We're all eternally incomplete, and that's so beautiful that we're all never going to be done. That we're here to enjoy the process of transformation. Not the goal is never to be transformed. It's impossible. It's all transformation all the time. So being vulnerable to that. Did anyone, we covered this topic not under our own control, but God has definitely guided us to. Has anyone had any more experiences around death since the last visit we had together? Has anyone had any more things that they thought were notable or they want to share?
I just thought it might be good to bring up attachment. It came to me especially even when you were talking about last week, I thought it's not so much about the person, well, for me, and maybe for others, it's not so much about the person that's leaving or left. It's always about the ones left behind and their attachment to that person or that experience that they had. And that's, I know that's something in Eastern medicine or Eastern religions.
Right.
All about attachment. So if you want to talk about that.
Sure, and I haven't forgotten. One of the things that Linda asked me to do last class was she asked me to give a little bit of input and guidance on what conversation I have with someone who's in a terminal situation. how do
Yeah,
I
the person
discuss that?
themselves.
Yeah, the person themselves. That was more for the person that is terminal, and I'll address that before we get into our lesson tonight. It is courageous and compassionate to share the truth about death. Okay, so it's very important that we continue to help people that are going through this process by being honest about the fact that it's a process, and that as much as it's difficult to lose someone we love or let go of someone we love, that it's very important to remind them just how lucky they were to have that person. That it's always good to focus on how lucky we were to have someone, instead of focusing on how hard it is to lose someone, how lucky we are to have someone. Because all we have is the time we have with someone. The inevitability is the inevitability, but we need to continue to focus on how lucky we are to have them. And whether we've had them for a day or a month, or whether we've had them for 50 years, or whatever the time length is, we have to continue to bring people back to, wow, how lucky we were, how great it was to have them. Vulnerability is a brave choice, moving willingly into a choice, into choiceless surrender, of being unconditionally loving, living from the heart. You are surrendering to the knowing. Okay, it's just another reminder of. And I always remind you all of this as you come to these classes again and again. Okay, this is a practice that holds you accountable on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? It really is a loving way to say, how am I being with life? How am I being with things that are happening around me? Am I being loving and accepting? Am I being open to the benefit they're supposed to be bringing me? Am I being resistant? Okay, and I never want you to observe how you are with life by judging yourself. It's always from a place of secure observation. How am I being? How am I being? Stop with how am I being. Don't go after that to, that means I'm this, or that means I'm that, or that means I'm not enough of this, or that means I'm too this. Just stop with observation. Observation creates awareness. Awareness changes consciousness. Consciousness brings change over the long term. So don't feel like you have to come to conclusions about your observations. So we're not a science experiment. Okay? We're having an ongoing experience. How can I support myself in the group to be more vulnerable? Okay? How can I support myself and the group to be more vulnerable? Anybody? Anyone have an input on that? How can they support themselves or in the group to be more vulnerable? Okay? Sarah, what do you think? How can you support yourself or the group in being more vulnerable? What comes to you?
Just by being truthful where I am.
That's right.
And then just accepting everyone where they are.
That's it.
And
That's
enjoying it, you know?
It. Enjoying it. The best part was what she said at the end. The rest was beautiful, but the best part was the end. Let's just have an enjoyable experience. I mean, can we just give ourselves permission to have an enjoyable experience? If we come here committed to having an enjoyable experience, it doesn't mean enjoyable experiences are not uncomfortable. Part of it may be uncomfortable. But we're committed to having an enjoying experience. If it's uncomfortable, we're enjoying the uncomfortable experience. We're letting it be something that is positive, even if it doesn't always feel pleasant. Because positive doesn't always feel pleasant. Positive many times feels uncomfortable. We've got to get those two disconnected, that if it feels right, it's positive, and if it doesn't feel right, it's negative. No. It's what is it bringing me to? What is it helping me change? How is it changing me as an individual? How is it making me more loving and peaceful and accepting? If it's doing that, it's positive. Sometimes that doesn't feel good. Sometimes it feels crappy. What are my beliefs about death? We kind of covered that. If fear-based, what do I need to do to move into a choiceless surrender about death? Okay, well, I'm going to answer this one. If your belief in death is fear-based, okay, all you need to do is embrace the truth. What do I mean by that? It's kind of a big statement, all right? Embrace the truth about what death is. If you fear death, okay, you're not seeing it for what it is. You're seeing it as a once-in-a-lifetime event. If you see death as something that happens once in your life, okay, first of all, it's just not true. How do I know it's not true? Because I've seen people go through multiple lifetimes. I've gone through multiple lifetimes. And people go through multiple lifetimes within a life. Okay? Are you excuse me. Are you the same person you were when you were 12 years old?
No.
Okay, so what happened to that little boy, okay?
Well, yeah. It's better when the adult when the old person died at 32.
That's right. Yeah. So it's death. Okay? We have to let death be a process that's ongoing in our life and not an event that happens once. As soon as we make it an event that happens once, we give it way too much power. We give it way too much control. We give it way too much ability to warp us. And how many people have been born, okay, that haven't died? Anyone going to answer that question? How many people have been born that have never died?
0.
None. None. So what's the point? What's the point of fearing something that happens to everyone? Once we know what's happening to everyone, we're not victims of it. We're in denial if we're having a problem with it. It happens to everyone. What's one plant that's been born that's never died? Okay? None. What's an animal that's been born that's never died? None. So if everything goes through it, and we are a part of everything, does it make sense to fear something that everything is going through? That's the truth. So when you embrace that, okay, so it's going to happen. It's going to happen. How am I going to be with it? Well, we get to, how am I going to be with it? We get past, when's it going to happen? Is it going to happen? I don't want to lose this person. You're going to lose everybody. You're going to lose everybody, whether you leave or they leave. Everybody leaves or you leave. It's the way it goes. There's no way out of that part of the game, okay? So you got to really just accept the truth of it, and that truth will set you free from the constant fearful belief around something that's inevitable. Because to be fearful of something that's inevitable on an ongoing basis is just torture. You're just torturing yourself. And come on, if you're in this room, you just know better. You know that everything's going to die. So, okay, here's a good one. So we'll get to that. So what do I say? What can I say to people who are grieving a loss or are terminally ill? Okay. So let's talk about the people that are. We kind of talked last class a lot about people that have lost someone. Okay. But I'd like to just share a couple of inspirational things that come to me when I'm talking to somebody who's terminally ill. Okay. And I deal with people that are coming in to see me that have terminal cancer and have terminal disease of any kind. And I'm going to tell you that when I give you this answer, it's going to kind of shake a couple of you in a different way. What do I talk to them about? Okay. I don't talk to them about their illness at all. Not because I'm avoiding it. Not because I have a problem with it. Okay. I talk to them about their life. I talk to them about their life. Not just their life like their past. Okay. I talk to them about their life. What's going on? I don't talk to a terminally ill person like they're dead. I talk to a terminally ill person like they're living. In other words, do I talk to them any differently than I talk to you, Linda? No, I talk to them the same way. Why would you talk to somebody differently because they're terminally ill? What gets them? Why would you do that? Why would you treat them differently? Why? Nobody wants that. Talk to them like they're alive. Are they alive? They're alive. Why not talk to them if they're alive? I don't talk to terminally ill people like they're terminally ill.
But you know what we added to the conversation with people we think are just going to continue living is we try to help them change, and we're trying to change that.
Right.
And we're adding things, and you shouldn't do that anyway, I guess.
Right. I just talk to them. I just talk to them.
Yeah. Plan. Yeah.
And what you find is when you just talk to somebody who has a terminal illness, okay, they then start to talk to you.
Right.
They know what they need to talk about. They know what they need to have a conversation about. All I do is just have a conversation with them about life. Day-to-day things. Because ironically, when someone's in a space of terminal illness, I can sense from a place of compassion. In this lifetime, I don't have a terminal illness at this point, although at some point I will have a terminal illness. I will die of something. All they're thinking about is their big life issues, okay? So what I find that someone who's terminally ill, what they really need to talk about is, they need to talk about day-to-day events. They need to talk about something other than the end of their life. They need a break from their own reflection that they're going through because their life is coming to an end and they They just need a break. They just need to come back to what life was like before they had terminal illness. So I give them that normal conversation and experience, try and talk about something that's superficial, irrelevant, funny, because they just need a break. They don't need you to talk about it. They're talking about it inside their head all damn day long. So take that advice when you're dealing with somebody that's dealing, and maybe, maybe Kat will have a different opinion, but wouldn't that seem like something that you would want someone to kind of talk with you about when you were going through what you were going through? And she's someone who's overcome cancer and continues to be healed from it, which we're so grateful that she's here with us. We're just so grateful that you're here and that you're just a million miles away from that with who you are right now.
And hopefully if I talk to someone who has been diagnosed with cancer, I don't see my own death in them, because they'll see it in my eyes.
They do.
Like I said last week.
Yeah, she shared that with us. So just that's the funny answer to that question, Linda.
Yeah.
And you have to give them a break from it. So let's see. Lord, guide me on who's supposed to open our book tonight. Mr. Red Cooney, everybody, let's get my hand. Well, I think as long as it's not about that, we'll all be okay. Okay. So anybody who's read the book, everyone remember the part in the chapter of Point of No Return where I'm talking about running past the sanitation plant?
Yeah.
So this is good. So I'm gonna paraphrase the part of the chapter for this. I'm going out on a run. This run I go on, I run from my office here. I haven't run it this year, but I run all the way to Wendy Park, the lighthouse, and I run all the way back. Okay, so on the way there, you got to run past Whiskey Island. You got to run past the sanitation plant. Everyone know that general area?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the page that Ed turned to was page 124, but we're going to go ahead and start it. We're going to start it on page 123, about halfway down, and I'm going to go ahead and read that. All right. So I'm on the loop back. All right. So here we go. Story time, everyone. On the return loop back, I had to pass through the. Okay. So how can I say that word from here? Okay. I had to pass through that shit again. I saw the sanitation department ahead. Suddenly I sensed God speaking. It has been one of the most profound characteristics of my life that God teaches me something when I need it. I hear the inner voice of God asking me, "Why did you try and stop breathing when you ran by that area by the sanitation department?" So when I ran past it, it's duly noted that I was trying to hold my breath. I just didn't want to breathe, because I'm running and I'm trying to breathe and I'm like, oh my God. So that's why God asked me, "Why did you try and hold your breath?" Is it because it smelled like shit? I said. You are the same origin of that shit, God says. Then I realized the truth. Oh my God, I am from the elements of that shit, which is the truth. All right, we're all from the same shit. What is it? What is in it is in me. Its chemical bonds are the same as mine. The carbon molecules are no different than mine. Why do I believe I have the right to judge and label it? Those microscopic forms of life producing that odor benefit from the same field of life as I do. They have to be here. Then God said to me, on your run back, you must embrace that. You must breathe with a greater acceptance. If you don't, you will always see it as something separate from you, something that either you are above or is beneath you. You must embrace every part of life as necessary and as equal, even though you don't understand why. That smell is there because I allow it to be there, for a reason that you must embrace it completely. Otherwise, you will separate yourself from it by an illusion of choice from a part of life. Wow, I thought. So I ran past the sanitation department. I breathed deep, deep running breaths. I'm not going to lie to you, because even though I knew it was what God said to me was profoundly true, I wasn't completely comfortable with it. It smelled. But I made an important shift that day. I recognized that I saw that there was still a part of me that held on to that same blue sky thinking, that I wasn't part of the shit, that it wasn't me. I surrendered right then and there. I breathed the smell. in and I harmonized myself to it. I was glad I did. It was a while before I ran that route again, but when I did, the smell didn't bother me in the least. I ran past the sanitation department before I even realized that I had come through that smelly section of life without noticing it. I didn't think about it being smelly. That's what less resistance does. It takes the suffering out of everything. We all have shit in our lives in one form or another. Things stink and you don't want to accept them. You don't like them. You want to judge and label them as bad or wrong. As shit. These old patterns of ignorance related to blue sky illusion. Once you get this illusion, you know that it's just stuff that doesn't smell good. It's life in a different form. It's in another life form that's moving up to a higher level of life form. It's just life. Don't give it a negative label that brings about fear or resistance, judgment or condemnation. Don't give it a negative word like old, sinful, shit, or evil. It is what it is, otherwise it would be something different. Anything that is a part of life is a part of you and me. It is a part of God. Nothing is outside of that life or God. People want to put certain events and situations outside of God so they can believe that God is who they believe God to be. This is blue sky reality, because if you, I, and the universe are expanding infinitely, so is the force of God, because nothing is outside of it, which is life. But I mean it when I say that it's okay. If you're not ready to live from that starry infinite sky, if you choose to live from your intuition in a space of unconditional love, peace, and acceptance, then think about the meaning of unconditional. It doesn't mean we love you until it smells bad, until she has cellulite, until he has wrinkles. Unconditional means unconditional. Living this way is how you can best get along with the infinite field called life, forever. If we're going to get along with something that we're going to be a part of forever, there can be no conditions on our love for life. Now, again, we always want to take a second to appreciate how things unfold. Okay, so we come in, we start doing our questions, and we start talking about death and the inevitability of death and the event in our life. Okay, and then Ed opens up to that page. Okay, and that page, if you can see it, if not, I'll show it to you. It directly leads into what we're talking about. We've labeled death, okay, as a shitty moment. Okay, it smells, it's horrible.